Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome you all to National Stadium, which is being converted to a soccer stadium. Don't you guys have any sense of humor out there? Too hot. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today for this announcement. We're joined by our City Administrator, Alan Liu. We have from the DC United, a gentleman who we've worked very closely with since he took over the team. Now it's been, he and his partners, been about 13, I guess going on 14 months ago. And folks from the National Building and Construction Trades Council, specifically the Secretary-Treasurer, Brent Booker, who is here, and you will hear from them shortly. Also joined by our Deputy Mayor, who is here with us. Where's Victor? Oh, there he is. Victor Hoskins, our Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. Lisa Mallory, who is the Director of our Department of Employment Services, who will have an important role in this. Charles Jones. Is Charles here? Is he? Where's Charles? There. Oh, there he is. Okay. Thank you, Charles, for being here. Charles is the Acting Associate Director for Apprenticeships and Associate Director for the Project Empowerment Program at DOES, which is the longest title in the history of the District of Columbia government. Today's announcement is not just about the new soccer stadium, because of course we've already done that announcement. It's really about jobs for DC residents, and that's why I'm delighted to have been joined by a number of our friends from the labor community. Let me take a moment to acknowledge some of the labor leaders who are here. First of all, I mentioned Brent Booker already, but Vance Ayers, who's the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Washington, D.C. Building Trades. If you raise your hand, since I can't see you, people can acknowledge you. Kathy McCurchie, who is with the D.C. Metropolitan Council of the AFL-CIO. She's representing Josh Williams today, who is out of town. Barbara Kavanaugh with the DC Employment Justice Center. Nikki Lewis with DC Jobs with Justice. DC Racinos, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, with Rodman Local 201. Chuck Graham, who is with the Electrical Union, IBEW. Mary Battle, who's with the Cement Masons. Keith Cunningham with the Sprinkler Fitters. Josh Van Dyke with the Operating Engineers. Kendall Martin with the Iron Workers. Mark Heffron with the Painters and Allied Trades. And some folks who I've had the pleasure to work with for some time, Anthony Frederick, Denny Martyr, and Orlando Bonilla from the laborers. I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and let me also thank all the rank and file members, the day-to-day members of the various unions for being here with us for this important announcement. What we're here to do is to announce an agreement between the district and the Washington, D.C. Building and Construction Trades Council for a project labor agreement for construction to proceed on the proposed D.C. United soccer stadium. As you will recall, we promised when we announced this that we wanted to move with dispatch, we wanted to move expeditiously, and that is in substantial part what we are doing here today. Just so you know, this PLA is virtually identical to the agreement that was used during the construction of the stadium right in front of me and right behind some of you, the Washington Nationals baseball stadium. And it was completed on time and on budget with the help of union labor. The Washington, D.C. Building and Construction Trades Council and its 15 affiliated members are all signers of the agreement with the District of Columbia, so we're all in this together. And D.C. United has made a commitment, of course, to make an binding agreement as a part of the primary criteria in the selection for a builder for the stadium. The PLA allows district residents to be considered for trade jobs and apprentice opportunities before the typical selection process, which is normally based on seniority. This is a significant component of the agreement, as DC residents will not have to wait for consideration. I want to underscore that. DC residents who we are trying to get to work in every way we possibly can that is reasonable will not have to wait for consideration, but will essentially start at the head of the line for trade jobs and apprenticeship opportunities. The agreement also ensures that the project will use union labor for trades valued above $6 million. Any trade packages below that threshold are automatically provided a waiver from the PLA, thereby allowing smaller and often non-union firms or CBEs to bid on and perform the work that's involved therein. All non-union firms can bid on any phase of construction and are free to take advantage of union training programs. The project labor agreements in and of themselves are not new to the district. As I already indicated, it involved the stadium and also involved the convention center, right, Alan?
Yes.
Over which Alan had a major responsibility. And of course, the person who has been absolutely instrumental in this was instrumental in the construction of this stadium, instrumental in the construction of the convention center, is the person who I work with every day now in the capacity of being our city administrator, and that of course is Alan Liu. We think that his involvement, his experience, his engagement will be crucial in establishing an environment of trust and respect with labor. And of course, Alan worked with labor on these other two major projects, and we'll be reaching out again around the prospect of the soccer stadium that we've already announced. Alan and his team have worked, they worked initially a number of years ago for many months in putting together what became a prototype for a project labor agreement. And we look forward to resolving whatever remaining issues there are related to the development of the soccer stadium so that construction can start as soon as possible. No small item being that we still have to settle on the land, which would be a good thing to do to be able to construct anything, I suppose. But we're moving apace with that as well. When construction begins, the District Department of Employment Services will play an instrumental role, and I announced, introduced our director earlier, Lisa Mallory. They will play a vital role in helping to provide qualified candidates and potential apprentices to contractors. DOES also plays an important role in ensuring compliance with the apprenticeship rules. I'm happy to report that in 2012, last calendar year, 30 new construction apprenticeship programs were approved, and union and non-union sponsors hosted more than 400 DC resident apprentices just in 2012 alone. Currently, construction-related trades make up 90% of DOES's apprenticeship sponsors, and the department has worked to revive our pre-apprenticeship programs to prepare DC residents for these kinds of opportunities. Pre-apprenticeship programs prepare interested candidates for full training opportunities by teaching some of the really important basic skills, and that's underlying construction trade practices, life skills, work readiness skills to residents, including, by the way, our returning citizens, and we'll have Charles Thornton involved in this also to make sure that those doors are open to people for whom they are sometimes closed unfairly. People who lack basic education, people who may be homeless, people who have other barriers to employment. Pre-apprenticeship programs are currently available in 4 areas: being an electrician, being a laborer, being an iron worker, and being a plumber. And we are looking to add more as we continue to bolster our apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs in the city. Again, this project labor agreement is another indication of my strong support for workers and people being able to work in the District of Columbia. And my commitment that as we build our city, literally and figuratively, our residents will benefit and be at the forefront of these projects. So that having been said, I'd like to now ask the gentleman who, again, I work with every day on things all across the District of Columbia, who does such an outstanding job. Please join me welcoming our City Administrator, Alan Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nice hot day. I guess a little bit about 6 weeks ago, when the mayor announced the deal with DC United for a brand new stadium at Buzzards Point, probably about a couple hours after the announcement, I get a email from Stephen Corian, who is standing in the back there, hiding from everyone. He said, and we've been meeting for over a year about project labor agreements and working together on different things in the city, mostly capital things. And he just left me a note and he said, "What do you think? How about a PLA for the soccer stadium?" And I probably didn't get back to him for a couple of days because I wanted to check my patron, Mayor Gray, and he said, "Great idea. Let's try to do that." And I talked to Jason Levian, and he said, "What is that?" and I said, "Don't worry about it, Jason. We've got this one under control. We have the right people to make this thing come together." And he said, "I don't even know where to start." I said, we're going to start. We're not going to start at the very beginning. We've done this before. And as the mayor said, this agreement was very much based on the Nationals Park agreement. We had a PLA at the convention center as well. But the one at the Nationals Park really did outperform our expectations. We were able to exceed 50% CVE participation, be able to meet the first source agreement, as well as many other hiring goals that we had that was set up for the project. And we had a very tight schedule. We're very similar to what we have with the soccer stadium. And we had budget limitations. And back then the council actually imposed budget caps in terms of how much money we can actually spend. And so without all that said, we were able to hit our schedule and we were able to stay within our budget. So I think the you take something that works, why fix it? If it works, let's try to learn from it. And that's what we did. I think Steve Cordian said to me, why don't we use the same basic parameters that were set for the National Stadium? It really worked out for all of us. It was a win-win-win. So we agreed. The reason why we were able to literally in less than 2 months work this agreement out was because we already had an agreement that we worked from. So with that, I'd like to thank a bunch of people that were involved with this. Maybe starting with John Bowker and David Mintzberg from the DC United organization. I think, and of course Jason Levian. I was asked to thank Coach Olsen as well, and I said I'm not sure how do I fit in this, but here, let's give Coach Olsen a round. This is all about soccer, right? Yeah. And we worked with not just Steve, but Steve brought in national leaders, Mike Monroe and Brent Booker. You'll hear from him in a minute. On our end, we had folks that were from DGS, from Brian Hanlon's shop, the head of DGS. We had his chief operating officer, Scott Burrell, involved. We had Victor Hoskins, Lisa Mallory's office involved. Victor's the deputy mayor for economic development. We also had Barry Kreisworth from my office. We had Thomas Breinbaum and his team from Leverage and Letaway working with us, and Tom worked with me on the convention center agreement as well as on the baseball agreement. So he brought a lot of history and continuity to this whole effort. So with that said, I think I'm going to close. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Alan. I mentioned, and Alan mentioned, Brent Booker, who is the Secretary-Treasurer of the National Building and Construction Trades Council. I think I can say with an absolute certainty that he and his colleagues have been great partners in lots of ways. And I don't have any doubt that they will work very cooperatively and effectively with the DC United and their contractors to make the construction of the soccer stadium an incredible success, just like Nationals Park was. So please join me in welcoming Brent Booker.
Good afternoon. I'll be brief. I know it's warm out here. I just want to thank the mayor and DC United for the opportunity to partner with them in the construction of this new stadium. At a time where construction unemployment are at record highs, the economy's getting a little bit better, but anytime we have the opportunity to build major infrastructure like a new stadium, we're thrilled to be able to be a partner with both the government and with the DC United in doing this. The mayor mentioned earlier the success we had at National Stadium, and we plan on duplicating that success we had with that stadium. A lot of things we were told when we originally did that we weren't going to be able to obtain, and we exceeded all the expectations and setting a record in the construction of a Major League Baseball facility in 22 months. There was a goal to have 50% of all apprentice hours worked by DC residents. That we exceeded that goal by having 57% of apprenticeship hours done by DC residents. This agreement allows for DC residents, those who live in this city, to be able to build the facilities that we're all going to be able to enjoy. So the agreement's about the DC residents, the priority and given to them in access to our apprenticeship programs and access to the job site. When you're a skilled worker that resides in the district, you should be able to build the facilities that are required for you to be able to then enjoy once it's done. So we're thrilled with the opportunity. I'm confident that we will be able to exceed the expectations that were put on us with the National Stadium. Oftentimes, those of us in the construction industry are always told you're only as good as your last job. And when you look behind you at the facility that's behind you, we're pretty proud of the last job we did with the National Stadium, and we're looking forward to partnering, continuing our partnership, and developing our partnership with DC United and building this new stadium across the street. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Brent. I mentioned earlier the managing partner for DC United is Jason Levian. And again, Jason over these last 14 months has absolutely been wonderful to work with, has been a real partner. And really working with him has helped us make sure that the DC United will be staying in the District of Columbia. I know there was a point when there was discussion about them going to Prince George's County. There was discussion about them going to Baltimore. But Jason has come in these last 14 months with incredible spirit of cooperation and collaboration. And it's been an absolute delight to work with him as we have worked to mutually achieve our goals on behalf of our professional sports teams here in the District of Columbia. So, Jason, I just said to him, Alan said, what is a PLA? I said, you'll probably know more about a PLA by the time this thing is finished than you ever wanted to know. But it is important information, obviously, to be able to have. So please welcome Jason Levian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just another important step in our process towards making this a reality, and it's exciting to be here. I certainly want to thank Mayor Gray and Alan Liu. Their passion for economic development in this city is really contagious. And I know I caught the bug when I first sat down with them, and I want to thank them for that, because we've said all along, for this to work and work well, we need to put district residents to work. We need this to be a win for the community, a win for this city, and that's why we're so excited about building a state-of-the-art, world-class, recognized soccer stadium right here a few blocks away from here. And we know it's going to be a fabulous project, and it's going to reap benefits for this community for decades. So I'd love to thank our labor leaders as well for expeditiously working through this with the mayor and Alan Liu, for everyone involved on my team, such as David Mintzberg and Michael Williamson, for the long hours they've put in the 6 weeks between our initial announcement and today. This is a great step for DC United, a great step for the district, and we're looking forward to further steps to follow. So thank you very much.
All right, we're going to have the signatories and move over to the table to be able to sign this agreement so we can get this process underway immediately. All right, we'll be happy to take a couple of questions. You know, if you all have any.
I'm Jewel Edwards, this construction labor report.
Okay.
How many jobs
I don't know. Do we know how many jobs yet?
Yeah, we have some numbers.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there are many different trades and many different disciplines that will be involved in this.
Yeah, not counting the other economic development projects that the city's going to undertake. We're estimating about $143 million in economic development activity just for the soccer stadium, and about 400 full-time equivalent jobs during the construction phase. And then during the non-construction phase, we expect about $70 million of economic development activity, and about 380 full-time equivalent jobs.
Matt.
Mayor, you mentioned there's still some land to be acquired. You got to give us an update on where those efforts stand and how many properties are still up in the air?
I don't think that there's anything really new and significant to announce at this stage. Those discussions are continuing on. I think everybody knows about the land swap and those discussions involving Ackridge and involving the city with the Reeves Center and the site, you know, their site over here. But the discussions with the other landowners, Pepco and the others, are ongoing. So we'll announce that as soon as we have something substantive to say. Ms. Brazil.
I have two questions. Mr. Liu says that the PLA for the National Stadium was a resounding success. On the other hand, there are at least two reports done. One done by the DC Sports and Entertainment Commission that said that the target goals regarding apprenticeship, journeyman, CBE participation was not met. Can Mr. Liu comment upon that report, please?
Can you comment on that, Mr. Liu?
Probably not to that level of detail, Mr. Brazil. We get back to you with an answer.
Well, you in your remarks, you indicated that you were going to hit a target comparable to the National Stadium regarding jobs and apprenticeship. If the studies, the two studies that were done of the PLA for the National Stadium said that those targets were not.
Have you seen the studies? I have not.
I haven't seen this.
We'll review the stuff. If you want to give us the site, we'll make sure we get to the studies quickly and we'll give you a written answer.
My second question is, Mr. Mayor, when are we going to see the actual document? It's one thing for you to have a press conference and to issue a press release, but we have the devil's in the detail.
Yeah.
And one of the details that
You mean the document, the PLA?
the PLA, and one of the details that
We'll put it up on the website.
one of the devils that was in the detail the last time was the fact that there was a shortcoming in terms of recruitment and oversight. You mentioned Ms. Mallory's going to be in charge of recruitment. Who is going to be in charge of oversight to make sure the unions, the contractors adhere to the provisions of the PLA?
I can assure you that is one of the two principal jobs that the Council of the District of Columbia has, and I don't have any doubt that they will do it. There will be probably lots of hearings that will be conducted on this issue, and we'll be prepared to answer whatever questions they ask.
You're going to look to the council to do oversight on the implementation of the PLA?
Well, they do also oversight on everything else.
You're not going to hire anybody?
Are you planning to hire anybody to do that? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Brazil, we'll have people on our team working on oversight. You know, we haven't actually identified the individuals yet. On the other question that you raised about when the PLA will be ready, you know, for the public to see, there's about 24 or so labor leaders that have to sign for each of the different trades, you know, from carpentry to electrical, all the different trades that are inside the agreement, and there's a signature line for each of those. It's going to take a couple of days for the Buildings Trades Council to be able to round up all of the leaders. Many of them are here. Those are here probably can sign off. Once we have all of the signatures from the various trades, signed, then the document will go on our website, and you can see it there.
Any other questions? If not, thank you all very much.